Welcome back to another edition of the Unreasonable Odds podcast. Steve Buchanan with my co-host Julian Edlow on a very somber November 1st. Week 8 will go down. It's very fitting that it was on Halloween. Let me move my microphone over. It's very fitting that it was on Halloween because it was an absolute bloodbath. And I don't use that term loosely. I don't use that term often. It was an absolute bloodbath. Like, we may, talk highly about the DraftKings sportsbook and all that, but we're trying to beat them. Okay. We don't want them beating us. And they took the public's money with a smile on Halloween. It was all treats for the DraftKings sportsbook, all tricks for all us public bettors. The Bengals just ruining everybody's Halloween, whether you were in a survivor pool, betting on them, anything to do with the Bengals. Just an absolute devastating loss for all. DFS, like everything. It was bad. And it wasn't even just that. Look at all the backup quarterbacks. I mean, the Saints beating the Buccaneers. Like, that would have been a bigger story if the Bengals didn't just absolutely, collapse. Questionable call on that game. Didn't give the chance to get the Bengals the ball again. That's a hot topic here today, but lot of anger today, Julian. I think that would be putting it correctly.
8 underdogs won outright last week. Sorry. 8, 9. Yeah. 9 covered, 8 won, going back to the Packers on Thursday night. Yeah, not great. Not great. What was I going to say? I don't even remember what I was going to say. It was that bad.
It probably was profanity laced. So best if you keep that to yourself. But yeah, just a bad day all around. I like to think that we do rather well on this podcast. That was by far our worst weekend in the NFL so far this season, week 8. We will be happy to put that behind us after this Giants and Chiefs game coming up later tonight. We'll get to that in just a second, but let's get to cash it or trash it, and let's get prepared to throw a lot of that in the trash, because that's exactly what happened in week 8. I'll just start right off the bat. I was on the Bengals heavily. They were in the teasers. I had them on the spread. It was just bad, man. Like, it's, I even was said on numerous shows that I would take that up to 13.5 because I truly believe that the Bengals were going to beat this team by multiple scores. It didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. Like, the Jets got out to that fast lead and just really never looked back. And again, like we talk about that questionable call, the helmet to helmet, that really wasn't a pretty weak call overall. And I'm not just saying that because I had, on the Bengals side, I mean, even people who were backing the Jets, which are, few and far between, were in agreement that the call was, pretty, BS. But yeah, the Bengals just, they came into this game, 4-3 against the spread, covering by an average of over 9 points. That average has gone down dramatically after that loss last week to the Jets, who gets their second win of the season. I am also a backer of Jets under 6 wins. So that sneaky win doesn't help the cause either. So just a bad week for the Jets to win overall.
Yeah, I was on Bengals first half. I took the Bengals live minus 4.5.
That's right. Oh my God.
I took the Bengals live minus 4.5. So when the Jets failed that 2-point conversion to be down 5,
yeah,
Bengals with the ball up 5, 4.5 minutes left. Strong spot. First play, Joe Burrow interception. And then I had the Bengals money line as the last leg of my free play parlay that I had going on. So that was the last one to cash that. So it's basically everything along the way with the Bengals for me personally that didn't get there. So that hurt. And then once Dak was officially ruled out, doubled down on the Vikings Sunday night, got good numbers, 2.5, 3, closes 4.5, didn't get there. And we can keep trashing it. I got, I got 15 yards or so of closing line value on DeAndre Swift rushing. No Williams against the Eagles, who allow a $133 on the ground, ranked 29th. 62.5 on Kyle Pitts with Calvin Ridley ruled out. It was like an NBA style slate of kind of betting off of injury news that we can't do much in NFL, and none of the closing line value mattered. So again, I would make the decisions I made again. So that's how you have to look at it and live with it.
Yep.
But amazingly, all of this value that kind of got scraped up on Sunday, none of it mattered. Like every Jets backup quarterback for the last 10 years won a game yesterday.
And they even had the third string quarterback in the game at one point because White was knocked out for a couple of plays. So they had that, even him in there. I don't even know who it is. I can't even.
The only thing I got right was my hot take on the sweat that Mike White would have the game of any Jets quarterback this season. Starts off with 2 interceptions, winds up with 400 yards and the game-winning scores.
And look what you did. Look what you started.
Cost me, my hot take just cost me money.
Right. And the hot take wins you $0. It's just, right.
Much more than $0.
It's an ego thing. I was also on the idea that the Lions would get their first win against the Eagles. That was not even close. Like, what happened to the team that I saw against the Rams 2 weeks ago? That was not happening. That clearly shows me that was all about playing against Matt Stafford is really what it comes down to, because that was not even the same team that took the field against Philly. And then funny story too about the Swift line is so they finally run in a touchdown late in the fourth quarter. I'm like, okay, good. At least we get something out of Swift. Oh no, they benched him for the end of the fourth quarter. It was Jamar Jefferson. I was like, oh my God. So now they finally score and it's, Jamar Jefferson. And I'm like, oh my Lord, like just keeps going and going, piling on, just really, really bad luck. But truly, like, and I want to make this perfectly clear. These weeks are going to happen. If you're new to betting, if you're new to daily fantasy, these weeks are going to happen. We talk about peaks and valleys a lot. Like, this was the bottom. Okay. These types of weeks are going to happen. And I want to stress too, because, and you brought up this point too, and this is what made me want to say that, is that the decisions you made going into Sunday, that you would take them again. Because the process that we do and the process that we go through to make these decisions shouldn't change, right? You can't let one game or one bad week deter you from everything else if you've been doing well. Because like I said, on this podcast, we've been doing fairly well. But these weeks are going to happen. Like, you have to expect this. You have to be prepared for this. And this is why bankroll management is so important. So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. Because imagine putting all your eggs in this basket last week. Oh, you'd be done. You'd be done for. Now, thank God Robbie Ray is going to win the Cy Young this week, because that's going to help me out a lot. Anybody who took that's going to help you a lot. But these
I need Jorge Soler to cash World Series MVP this week.
Now, I will say, good and bad on that real quick. And I don't want to get too off topic, but the good news is that now he has another game to do that. The bad news is that grand slam by Adam Duvall, that could tip the scale a little bit if he does something big tomorrow in game 6.
Soler had his chance. Soler had chances in both games that Atlanta hasn't won to have a big, or he at least had a big situation with men on base and failed both.
Yep. So Soler, I would say, was definitely running away with it until yesterday. And I'm just trying to really bring it up here real fast. I know we're going way off topic now.
So we're talking about our MLB Hail Marys that we need to hit. I mean, yours is going to hit, but that we need to hit to get some money back.
So Soler is still the favorite, followed by Freddie Freeman, followed by Adam Duvall, who are all really tight.
What's the number on Soler?
6-1.
All right. Well, I'm in at 35-1. So
you're doing all right.
Now we just needed to get there. But a leadoff home run in the World Series, and then the game-winning home run in the home game. Man, he needed one more knock. Maybe
again, as long as Duvall doesn't do anything major in game 6, I think you got it pretty much wrapped up.
And we got the DH in Houston, which helps him. He came off the bench for one of those home runs. But
correct.
I'm an oracle when it comes to World Series MVP, so I knew that would happen.
Correct. So, hoping some of these MLB long shots help make up for the disasters week 8. But truly,
did you win a bet yesterday? Did you cash anything?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you have literally nothing to contribute to the cash it section.
That's correct.
The only thing I have to contribute to the cash it section. I did take the Patriots live at +7.5, but I didn't put that on Twitter, so I don't get to count that. The only play that I put out that won was Bills -6.5 at halftime.
Yeah.
Scooped up the second half line. It was 3-3. I felt that they would break out at home. They did break out at home. So one thing went the way that it it should. So I cashed something for the show.
And for almost that entire game, that one was in a lot of danger too.
Yeah,
That
I mean, I got
almost
6.5 rather than the real number, but
No,
because I took the second half line. But
sorry, I'm talking more about just like big public favorites. Like that
Right.
was in very much danger, really all the way up to the fourth quarter when the Bills scored 16 in that quarter. It was just such a strange week. And then, really no surprise that it came on Halloween of all days, the days of mayhem, murder, and blood. That's exactly what happened in week 8. Freddy Krueger is haunting my dreams and it's just showing losing bet slips in my dreams. That's all I'm dreaming about as of right now. So that is gonna. Do you have anything else for Cash It? I can't imagine you do.
Do I what?
Do you have anything else for Cash It? I can't imagine you do.
Of course not.
Okay, let's get out of that section. Let's talk about something that maybe we can make some money on, which is Monday Night Football tonight. Really interesting game.
This game.
I do too, but it's
I'm done. I'm almost. I mean, we'll give some thoughts here because it's our job. I'm done with week 8. I'm on to week 9. I love the week 9 board that after we talk with Johnny Avello for Odds Are with Johnny Avello, we'll talk about that because we've had first of all, we should have even led the show with some of this stuff. What a Monday morning in the NFL. Right. Before we even get to Monday Night Football, Derrick Henry, foot surgery, potentially season ending, if not coming back around the playoffs and hobbled. Yep. Rams go all in. Trade more draft picks to add Von Miller to an Aaron Donald defensive front. Jalen Ramsey, that defense is going to be something else, and they have Stafford and the offense in place, it seems. And on a week that the Bucks get a divisional loss.
And do you know who the Rams play next? Titans.
I don't.
Titans.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
Titans.
Exactly. So the two big headline teams, that one was 6.5, moved to 7.
Yep.
And it's now made the move to 7.5 as we record this on Monday afternoon. So
that's going to keep rolling too.
A full point, especially with the Sunday, it's the Sunday night game. So,
right.
And we already know, so Henry's out. That moved it from 6.5 to 7. It was 7 minus 120. Now it's 7.5 minus 110, maybe even a little bit because Schefter already announced that Von Miller, who sat on Sunday's win for the Broncos against Washington, is playing in this game, making his Rams debut. So a lot of NFL storylines. We have the trade deadline this week that'll contribute to things.
Tomorrow.
On Tuesday. And God, it's a bad Monday morning for me. I keep forgetting what I want to say. Let's just get to Monday night. But I'm on to, there's some teaser positions in week 9, some money line spots, some numbers really moving. So I think giving out plays today on Monday is something that I'm going to do rather than even wait to Thursday because some of these are going to move.
Well, let's just talk about this Monday game real quick.
Yep.
The perception on the Chiefs could not be lower, but the public is.
Wow. One more thing while I'm looking ahead and we'll get there, but like a lot of books haven't even opened Dallas because the Dak situation against Denver, hosting Denver, but DK Sportsbook did have it up at 7. Yep. Now with whether it's the Von Miller trade that Denver kind of showing their hands or people thinking Dak's going to play, that's now 8.5.
Yep.
Like big moves on the board.
So this Monday night game, the perception couldn't be lower on the Chiefs, but the public has no problem backing them once again in this spot on the spread, which they're minus 10.5 favorites, 74% of the handle, 64% of the bets are on the Chiefs here tonight, which obviously means that 26% of the handle, 36% of the bets are on the Giants to get 10.5 points here. The over the over under is split almost down the middle here. 54% of the handle on the over, 46% of the bets on of the bets, and then 46-54 flip that number there for the handle and bets on the under. And then, as you'd imagine, 91% of the bets, 87% of the handle on the Chiefs at minus 475. With the way that this week has gone, I would expect a Giants win by a blowout because that's just how this week has gone. Where do you want to start here? Because, I mean, this is a crap answer. I really don't want to take a side. And I really don't know which side it is that I would want to take to give one, because we should be giving one in this spot. But you look at this, just both teams, like obviously the Giants remain banged up, no Saquon Barkley, no Kenny Golladay, but the teams have been able to move downfield against the Chiefs at ease. I mean, we just saw it last week with the Titans. They didn't even really need Derrick Henry to move down the field against this team. Like, should the Giants be able to do that? Yes. Are they going to be able to do that? I don't know, because the Giants have been they can't get out of their own way. But 10.5 for the Giants against this team that is just struggling. Like everybody keeps saying, this is the bounce back spot. This is the bounce back spot. Last week was supposed to be the bounce back spot against a really poor defense in the Titans, and they couldn't even score more than 3 points. Like, this is such a tough game to figure out. And a lot of it probably has to do because I'm still so shell-shocked from yesterday.
Yeah. I think that, the Chiefs, this isn't a hot take. The Chiefs are going to bounce back and win this game. But like, we're talking up over minus 500 on the money line right now. So I don't know if you want to, is that even a piece? It's not a good teaser piece in my mind at that number. It's a lot of juice for a money line parlay. Do you want to go back against the Jets with the Colts, another minus 500 type favorite on Thursday night? That doesn't even get you to like minus 250 range. So now you're looking to add something on Sunday and you're looking at like a 3-day, 3-leg money line parlay. It's just no good anything to me with this spread. It just, the Chiefs are going to win the game. I don't know if they'll be able to do it convincingly enough or not. They did smash Washington, so they can certainly smash the Giants at home. Like, I know underdogs are having a great week. I would lean to the Chiefs here because the Chiefs aren't, the Chiefs have more to prove, and it's not the Bengals turned into the Bengals on Sunday.
Yep.
Once again at the end of that game. But when it comes to the Chiefs, like, they actually, they're not just coasting and it's a Monday night game against the Giants. They have to do something here and rebound here. So I would lean to the Chiefs. It's an okay prop game. Like, I'm scrolling through. Do you have anything prop wise? Because both, the Kansas City passing defense is awful, ranks 27th in yards per game at just over 275. I'm looking up rushing defense.
I like taking the over pass rushing yards of Daniel Jones over 279.5. I think that's a very enticing number. Because we know that he's obviously very willing to run the ball. We've seen him do it numerous times and do it well. You can definitely do that against this Chiefs team. And, even with the limited weapons, Jones hasn't been terrible when he's been throwing the ball, even to some of these guys, whether, it's Tony or it's Shepard, because Shepard should be active for this game. He has a deep threat ability with John Ross, who hasn't been getting a ton of snaps, but he is that guy. We saw him a couple of weeks ago get one really long shot for a touchdown in the first game that he was active. But 203 against the Panthers throwing last week, 28 rushing yards. So, not the best, but obviously that secondary is a lot better than the Chiefs. He's just going to be throwing in this game. Like, if you think that the Chiefs are going to cover 10.5, then Daniel Jones should be throwing plenty in this game. And if that's the case against his secondary, he should be able to go over 280 combined with his rushing yards, because you look at his rushing yards so far this season, first 4 weeks, 27, 95, 39, 27, had 9 and 4 and 5 and 6, and then back to 28 last week. So 279.5, I think that's an over for me. At minus 115.
You partially touched on where I go. If I play anything in this game, I'm playing Danny Dimes rushing yards over 22.5.
Yeah,
like you said, 27, 95, 39, 27, 9 against Dallas, got hurt in that game early. So it's really just the 4 rushing yards in week 6 against the Rams where he no-showed, but they were down so big. I am surprised he didn't scramble, but 38-11 final in that one, threw it 51 times. So he was just slinging the ball from behind. But I am surprised he didn't scramble in that game. And then comes back with 8 for 28 against Carolina last week. Chiefs, bad run defense. Daniel Jones over 22.5 rushing yards is the one thing that I have my eye on if I make a play in this game and not be done with week 8. That would be it. Went 0 for 2 on player props on Sunday. Felt great about both of them. Considered Damian Harris rushing, which got there. Didn't play it because there wasn't enough of an edge in my mind. So yeah, Daniel Jones rushing prop would be my play on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, so the rushing, is totally fine. I'm definitely going to be playing the pass rushing yards over 279.5. I like that at minus 115. Not really getting a lot of juice on either side there. And then maybe even like completions for Daniel Jones at over 21.5. Like we keep saying how bad this secondary has been. If we think he's going to be throwing a lot in this one, and you look at his completions, he's been over that number in every single week except one. And that was a game he got hurt in Dallas. So over 21.5 for Daniel Jones for a number that he's hit in 6 of the 7 weeks. That looks pretty good to me. Over 21.5. I think that's a play that I'll be taking a look at as well. And then in terms of like wide receiver props, I definitely want to know if Sterling Shepard is active or not, because you might be able to get some of that value on some of the other guys if he is out. He's not listed on the board right now, really. Yeah, he's not on the board really at all because he's still questionable, but that might be something I would be looking at too as well for the rest of the Giants receivers if he's listed out. Ideally, it'd be great if Shepard was active in this one, but that's something I think just to keep an eye on too as well.
Fair. I have nothing outside of Jones, but that's where we're at.
All right, let's take a look at the rest of the week for week 9 a little bit here. Let's start with that Jets-Colts game.
We're going to go, hold on. You're getting way ahead of ourselves. Before we do that, why don't we get some insight from behind the book? Steve.
That's a good idea.
A smart person to talk to would be Johnny Avello, especially after we got mopped last week.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
Willy-nilly.
I'm going to tell you something. When we talk to Johnny Avello, I'm going to tell him that we're not friends this week. I'll straight up tell him. I don't care.
And of course, this is the week that we will be meeting Johnny in person out in New Jersey for the sports betting national championships. And Johnny's going to have to take us out for dinner or something because we have no money. No.
I'll just tell him straight to his face. I'll tell him straight to his face. Yep.
All right. Odds are with Johnny Avello. Here we go. All right, everybody. It is an unreasonable odds Monday here at DraftKings, which means we get Mr. Johnny Avello here for Odds Are with Johnny Avello. Johnny, how are we doing?
Doing real well, guys. Thank you much.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sure you are.
I imagine the public got bashed in NFL Week 8, Steve and I included. Underdogs crushed it. And we'll get to Sunday later, but it started with the Packers moving all the way to 6.5, winning outright in Arizona on Thursday Night Football. How was the result on just Thursday Night Football alone for the book?
Well, before I get into that, Julian, you mentioned, sure, everything's good, but I still had a smile on my face when we got crushed 2 or 3 weeks in a row too.
Yes,
so, things don't change with me because I realize it's about time. We did have a good week, but let's talk about the Packer game a little bit. We were on the plus side, but that doesn't mean there wasn't a fair amount of support on the Packers. When you have players like Devontae Adams and, Alan Lazard out, it should make a difference. But I guess if you can catch a football, that's sufficient enough with the accuracy of Rodgers. So I think you, myself, and Steve could play wide receiver and catch a few balls with Rodgers at the helm.
I don't think that would work very well, but I was on the Packers on Thursday, so that's fine.
All right, let's shift over to Sunday, which was just, brutal day for the public as dogs went 8-5 against the spread, 7 of them winning outright, including the absolutely insane collapse by the Bengals up against the Jets. I assume the Jets were the biggest moneymaker for the book here. And then just how about some of the other underdog outright results?
Well, the Bucks were actually the biggest win for us and the second biggest handle of the day. The Jets were right behind that one in regards to profit, knocking out just about everything that could possibly associated with the game. The Cowboys-Vikes game was one of the biggest handles of the day, and we did well on that along with the Dolphins and the Pats both covering. Now, when thinking about it, the AFC was actually a good conference for us this week.
All right. Shifting to Monday Night Football really quick. Kansas City, we spoke about it last week, I think. Initially, a 13-point favorite before they went down that embarrassing loss to Tennessee. Still a double-digit spread here. As down as the Chiefs are, you host the Giants on Monday Night Football. That's a pretty cushy spot to bounce back. So are you expecting some late movement here on Mahomes and the Chiefs prior to kickoff?
It does appear that the bettors want to give the Chiefs another go at this. We opened this up 13. It went as low as 9.5, and now it's inching back up. And with the Chiefs at home, I expect that maybe 11 will show up because we're at 10.5 now. So I could see another tick up.
Yeah, talking about some of the line movements there for Thursday Night Football coming up this week. The Colts were minus 14 on the look-ahead line going up against the Jets. They had that wild overtime loss to the Titans in the division, while the Jets pulled off that massive upset with household name Mike White at quarterback. They're now showing at minus 10.5 on the board. Do you expect some more movement here? Because we've seen quite a bit here since that look-ahead line opened up.
That's a tough call, Steve, with the Jet team that's near the bottom of the league, both offensively and defensively. You mentioned Mike White, 37 of 45, over 400 yards. He looked like that Mike White from the Western Kentucky days. I think he did have a 400-something yard passing game there, too. So the answer to this is probably not. I think that the line's pretty solid right now, and maybe – that's a lot of points to give a team that maybe feels that they can hang around a little bit now.
The Jets are 100% better with Mike White than Zach Wilson. I'll tell you that. All right. Sticking with you, this all kind of works in a circle here. We're talking about the same teams that have been playing each other. The Titans now. The win for them gave them what, at the time, it felt like kind of an insurmountable division lead over the Colts. You get both head-to-heads against them. You get this one in overtime on the road. Like, the division feels like it's all Tennessee. Now we hear about the Derrick Henry injury, which running backs, you don't want to value too much, but I assume Derrick Henry has to be the most valued running back in the NFL when it comes to 2-point spreads. So first of all, I just looked on DraftKings Sportsbook. Tennessee is minus 2,000 to win the AFC South, and Derrick Henry goes down. What does this mean for the division odds, for the future odds for Tennessee first in terms of the Henry injury?
That's a big, big hit for the Titans. I thought the Titans, looking at this team the way they were playing, really might have a shot to win the whole thing. It's going to be real difficult now, but Titans are still comfortable in the AFC South with a 3-game lead over the Colts, who you mentioned they beat twice. The Jags and Texans have no shot, and they have to play the Texans 2 more times. But they have about 4 competitive games left in this division. But, as far as I'm concerned, it's over. And you mentioned they're 1-20, so I feel that's, I think it's safe.
All right, so secondly here, let's talk about this Sunday Night Football, because it's been a big NFL news Monday so far. Derrick Henry down, the Sunday Night Football opponent for Tennessee going out to LA to face the Rams. The Rams go all in on this year, make another big ad, get Von Miller onto that defense, who's going to play on Sunday Night Football. I don't know how much he'll contribute in his first game, but he's going to be on the field. He wasn't on the field for the Broncos recently. What is all this kind of combined to mean for Sunday Night Football? The Rams were 6.5-point home favorites. We saw it move to 7. We see it now at 7.5. We never really get news like this. It feels like early in the week in the NFL. It feels more like an NBA line movement here with a trade for a guy and a guy with a foot injury. This is a unique NFL game, I feel like. What does all this mean for Sunday Night Football?
Man, I'll tell you what, you don't see a trade like this usually at this time during the season. So the Rams just keep making some moves and keep putting themselves in a better position to win this whole thing. I feel bad for a guy like Goff, who actually was with a good team and got traded to the worst team in football. So, but the teams just have to keep improving and making themselves better, and the Rams have done that. I don't know. This game, I think the line's positioned correctly right now. And it is a competitive game.
How much? I want to follow up real quick, Steve.
Yeah.
How many points is Derrick Henry worth to a point spread in your mind? Because I know the running back position is just plug and play, but if there's a guy that seems to have the most value, it's a guy like Henry.
I think he's worth 3 points to this team.
Okay.
And that's a lot for a non-quarterback.
I mean, Devontae
really
Adams looked like he was worth 3 on Thursday Night Football, and then proved that it almost didn't matter with Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, like you said. But this is a little different.
This is a lot different. You cannot replace the running back that easily. Aaron Rodgers can, like I said, he can make average receivers, better than average receivers. But you can't do that with a running back. This Derrick Henry's been a solid guy for many years. He's your go-to guy. You need a yard or two. So now when you need a yard or two, what do? You depend on the quarterback to roll out or make a keep throw. So yeah, it's a big deal here.
All right. Sorry, Steve. I'm taking your questions. One more follow-up here. Did I miss? So did this one open 6.5 Sunday Night Football, or did I miss an earlier number? It did.
How about 4.5?
Oh, okay. So I already missed the numbers. When was 4.5?
It was probably after you looked to bet it. So
okay. So my question was going to be, does this one get all the way up to 8.5 or so if Henry's worth the 3 points? But it sounds like we've already got those 3 points accounted for.
I think so. I think 7.5 is the number. I think it'll just hang around there now.
All right. Fair
you
enough.
missed the boat is basically what he's saying in a very nice way. Looking ahead to the rest of the week 9 board, which games have taken the most money so far? We've seen some numbers move, even this morning rather quickly. So be really love to hear about which game has taken the most money so far.
Well, the Eagles at home versus the Chargers. Chargers at home has been a popular early side. Also, the Pats at the Panthers has drawn some money. That line's moved from 1.5 Pats to 3.5. Cowboy game is moving, with the Broncos. Dak's expected to return. And so the Bills, another one is the Bills will continue to move against the Jags, and Miami at home against the Texans will probably not stay at 7. That's another one I can see probably going up a little bit. So that's a few early ones that I keep my eye on.
What if Tyrod Taylor plays for Houston? Does that then stay around 7, you think? Still going up?
No, that kind of helps the cause a little bit. If they get Watson in there, that'll surely change the line.
All right. Well, if you want to open up a line that Watson will not play on Sunday, I would love some of that action.
Well, they decided to keep him now, so I don't know what the overall plan is.
All right. Well, watch out. That could it being against Miami, maybe they want to showcase him to the Dolphins there.
Yeah.
Last week we talked some quick college football. I gave out a trend that if you had been betting against Clemson on the first quarter, first half full game spreads and under for first quarter, first half full games, you were hitting over 90% of your bets. Last week, FSU and the under were both the right sides. It was done. And then we have an all-time bad beat. One of these million backwards laterals that winds up in the end zone with Clemson falling on it on triple zeros. Flips every result. Clemson then wins by 10 on a 9.5 closing number. The game goes over the 47.5 on that final play. What was the result here for the book, number one? And number two, off the top of your head, can you remember the last one that went that bad that late to flip both the spread and the total? Because I don't remember when one of those happened.
Well, first of all, Julian, I want to thank you for touting that and making the DK Sportsbook a little money. But no, seriously, nothing really surprises me. It was the right
side. It was the right side. Wrong result.
Nothing really surprises me. I've seen, when I think I've seen it all, I actually haven't. So there was, some play on it. And it, people did follow the trend a little bit, but to be honest with you, there wasn't enough to write a book about.
Yep.
All right, switching over to the World Series. The Astros just won't seem to go away in the postseason. This time down 4-0 early in a road elimination game, and they somehow still find a way to get this series back to Houston for Game 6 starting tomorrow. Is the book still rooting for the Braves here with all the Astros futures now that we're heading into Game 6?
You would think that early slam would have taken the air out of the Astros.
That's it.
I mean, I'm thinking, okay, this is it. Braves ending this thing tonight, but not this bunch. They're going to claw to the very end. And
Yep.
as far as the exposure goes of where we stand, yes, there's some exposure, but it's really not that horrible anymore because we've had time to build up the pot. We've had time to balance out, a World Series, matchup, and so it's okay now. It's all right. Let's just enjoy the last two games, or one or two games, I should say.
Right.
One.
Really? All right. There's a prediction for you. All right. Couple quick hoops questions before we get out of here. NBA, we got the Heat, Bulls, Jazz, and surprisingly, the Washington Wizards, all 5-1 against the spread so far. Western Conference champs, Suns, a little bit of the hangover there, losing the NBA Finals, 1-4 ATS. Lakers, 2-5 ATS. Does that kind of line up with the teams who are helping and hurting the book the most so far? And if not, who has been?
So far, that has helped us. The Bulls were getting a big push before the season started, so
Yeah.
they are being back daily. Besides all those other teams you mentioned, Charlotte has helped us. They're 5-2 straight up and against the number. And the Celtics have helped us because they have just been terrible so far.
I was on the Celtics Saturday night. That was a perfect bounce back spot. Up 6 in overtime. Get it done. I covered the Celtics for a few years, Johnny. Ime Udoka. I tried to give him some time. I'm out on him. Bad rotations, bad everything. I'm out. They're going to beat the Bulls at home tonight now. Watch. All right. College hoops. Right around the corner, waiting for those early numbers to pop up. Kentucky, I love this event. When those four teams get together in what's it called? We don't know what it's called, but the same four teams play on a Tuesday night every year. Kentucky's going to beat Duke this year. I'm waiting for that number to pop up. But for now, we have the futures market. So, which teams, Johnny, have been taking the most money in the college hoops futures markets?
The Zags have been popular again. They have been for
Heavy favorites.
3 years running now. But Michigan, Texas, Duke, they're all popular in the early going. And there's a lot of great value out there this year. Some of those named teams that we all believe will be in the mix. You can get some double-digit odds on some of them this year, and in some cases more than 20. So things will tighten up a little bit, but right now it looks to be fairly wide open.
All right. It's going to be that kind of year in college basketball. That is Odds Are with Johnny Avello. Johnny, thank you for being with us. And we will probably see you Friday this weekend in New Jersey. Sports betting national championships being put on by DraftKings. So we will see you there, sir.
Look forward to seeing you guys then. Have a good week.
You too.
You too, man. Talk to you then. Thanks. All right, so that was Odds Are with Johnny Avello. Always good to get some special insight into the DraftKings Sportsbook, who had a great week 8. But whatever, we're going to go on and talk about week 9. That's where things turn around. That's where we start making our money back again. In week 9, we like this board.
I do like it. I hope it's for real. It has to be for real. Like I've been cold for a few weeks as it comes to NFL. So
to be fair, like we didn't like week 7. We didn't really like week 8 because even last week we were saying, we were talking about how much we didn't like week 7. We almost wish we had week 7 again. This is a much more attractive board for week 9. So we're going to make some money this week. That's the positive mentality you need to have going into these weeks. We had a bad attitude last week and we had a bad week last week. So now positivity. All right, Julian, get that on a t-shirt. Positivity.
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready for this week. We're going to be in New Jersey at the sports betting national championships. There's no better week for us to have a week than this week.
Right. And this is the week to have a week. Not many big favorites this week too, which is nice. The Bills are the obvious answer, the obvious one here against the Jaguars. Once again, -14 on the board as road favorites, no less, going against the Jaguars. But other than that, it's basically a touchdown or less board, and those are the boards we like.
Except for Dallas that moved. Dallas 8.5 now.
Oh, that is correct. Yep, you are correct.
Over a touchdown there, but still within that number where if you wanted to tease them, you get them inside a field goal to 2.5.
Hey. Good teaser week this week. We're back, baby. The teasers will be back in full force this week. Where do you want to start here? I know you already have some interest in the road Patriots, who have moved from 1.5 to -3.5. Still at a good number, in my opinion, up against the Panthers, who just really have taken an absolute 180 since week 4. Even in a good matchup last week where we thought this could be the bounce back for the Panthers, did not look good again last week. The Patriots really starting to look like they're in sync. They're clicking on all cylinders. Nice win against the Chargers too yesterday, I should say, in a matchup that I didn't think that they really had much of a chance in. They hung out through the whole game, then they pulled off the win. So -3.5 for the road Patriots, who are much better on the road than they are at home, by the way.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know why that is the case so far, but it is. Yeah, I was looking at this one. I thought that the Patriots would do well against the Chargers. I did not take a money line. I'm mad at myself. I did when they gave up the first score of the game. I took the +7.5 live. That was when I didn't have time to get on Twitter. I was getting ready to go out trick-or-treating with the son.
Very important.
Yes, very important, but not enough so that I didn't have time to go make a live wager on the Patriots. It was a good spot. So I think this is where the Patriots start to make up some lost ground here and gain a little bit of momentum.
Yep.
And how did they win that game? They won on defense. Who can they confuse and do they know well on defense? Sam Darnold. And an offense that has really come undone. So I think once again, the Patriots are going to win this game on defense. Carolina's defensive numbers are pretty good. Stephon Gilmore had the game-winning interception yesterday. Yep. He'll be ready to go against his former squad. And I think the Patriots will be ready to go against him. So Damian Harris has been great the last few weeks on the ground. I think that's where you attack here, and you can hopefully make some things happen through the air. But I was eyeballing that 1.5 look-ahead line. I didn't make it there. I did bet this at -3 on Monday morning. I'm already getting in on things NFL wise. Now 3.5. So if you can get this like -120 at -3, that's a play for me. I think the Patriots keep building some momentum here.
And one thing worth mentioning too, and I think that it's going to be worth getting on this line early, even though there's already been, a 2-point movement in this one there. It's not a guarantee that Sam Darnold plays in this game either. He had that concussion in the fourth quarter. Right. So, would you take -3.5 for the Patriots against PJ Walker? You're damn right you would. So
PJ Walker's not bad, but
no, he's not bad. But if you had to compare the two, and this is not, a great comparison.
I kind of want Darnold to play. I'm being honest.
I absolutely want Darnold to play. But I would still feel great about having -3.5 of the Patriots if it ends up being PJ Walker.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. So
I want the Patriots no matter what.
Yeah, of course.
What I'm saying.
But that's just another layer in that line too as well. I think this line continues to move a little bit too throughout the week. Obviously, if there's news that comes out, this will most certainly move after that. But -3.5, I still don't think you're too late on this, but I would definitely get this sooner rather than later. I would not wait around on that line. We talk about getting some of the value on the line early. Some people have already done that clearly, but I still think this is worth taking at -3.5. I just want to point out real quick too. I'm curious on your take on this one. So obviously, we still need to see the Giants tonight. They're facing the Raiders at home this week. 3.5 3-point dogs in that one. You were obviously somebody that is invested in the Raiders not doing well. I think they've actually played better without Gruden in the mix. We expected them to kind of maybe take a turn for the worse. It's gone the opposite way. So this is an interesting line for me for the Raiders on the road at -3. Feels like an attractive line, but if it just feels a little bit off, like they should be more than 3. against the Giants, or maybe this is just more of how people want to see how they look tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, short week, and the Giants don't do very well against the spread at home. I'm always wrong on the Raiders. Like, this is a stay away game for me. I can never get the Raiders right. The number is a little fishy. It feels like Raiders -3 is a pretty good value.
Right.
The way that they're playing, which generally means you take the Giants +3 here. But like, this was the same spot for the Panthers last week, and the Giants won like 25-3.
Right.
I don't know. I have no interest in this one.
Well, give us a game you're interested in then. Let's take.
I mean, look. So the Patriots are the straight spread. I bet at -3. Now I think there's 3 to 4 teaser pieces, really. And I haven't touched the Monday night one. Like, the way that Steelers defense looks going against somebody like Fields on the road on Monday Night Football, the Steelers at 6.5 should probably be a teaser piece, right?
I loved Fields yesterday. He looked good last week. I keep saying week, yesterday
against San Francisco.
Yeah, he did. Here's the thing that I just can't get over is like the Steelers just cannot score. Like, and are the Bears really bad defensively? Like, I wouldn't say so. But Matt Nagy should be back for this game. Is that a good? That's probably a detriment, right?
Yep.
I don't.
So I'm gonna steer clear of that one for now. So 3 teaser legs. And I'm going to mix and match these different ways. And of course, sprinkle on the 3-teamer.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins -7 against Houston. You heard Johnny say, no matter who's at quarterback, he thinks that one's going up. So this is an early week play.
Yep.
This is where it gets interesting. Like, so I'm going to tease Miami with the Rams on Sunday Night Football. I love the Rams, and I bet the Rams. I put it out on Twitter. I bet the Rams earlier at 6.5. I didn't get the good number 4.5, like Johnny said. But getting 6.5 instead of 7.5 is a big deal. So I have the Rams -6.5 already, but I'm going to do the teaser Rams and Dolphins. Now, the other curious one here is the Ravens, who are -5, who you lose a little bit of value on if you tease, because you get them to +1, and you don't want to tease through 0. That's a rule. So when I give out these parlays, so like, look, let's see, a Miami. Where the heck's Miami? A Miami and Rams money line parlay is -147.
Yep.
We're going to tease them at -120.
Yep.
Now, I'm not going to tease the Rams and Ravens. We're just going to do a money line parlay that is -118. So a little bit better on the juice, and we don't need to lay the point and a half with the Rams. Just need them to win. So that's a money line parlay. If you do it the other way, Baltimore and Miami, if I can find them, now we're looking at -112 on the money line parlay. So better than the -120. So in Baltimore's case, it gives me a money line parlay piece this week. But those are the 3 teams that I'm going to get in all types of combinations with. You can find the specific plays in my NFL Best Bets article, which I'm going to do my very best to get up today on Monday, November 1st, because I think it warrants it this week.
Are you concerned about how flat the Ravens looked last week, though, against Cincinnati? I'm sorry, the last time they played?
No. So the Ravens generally don't do well the week before the bye under Harbaugh. I don't know why. So they let down against Cincinnati. Then they get the bye. Now they host the Vikings. The Vikings, I don't think the Vikings have a bounce back in them. They're gutless. They're poorly coached. Kirk Cousins, like, I don't know if he knows that you're allowed to throw the ball past the line of scrimmage or past the first down to gain. Like, he's checking these balls down that are ridiculous. Like, after watching that game, and I don't think I'm being bitter here about a Vikings loss. Like, they just don't have it. So going to Baltimore with Baltimore off a loss, off the bye, Harbaugh's 9-5 against the spread out of the bye. I don't have his win-loss record, but I'd imagine it's even better than that. So this is a Ravens off a loss, off a bye at home, hosting a team that just got pantsed on national television.
Yeah.
I know you're supposed to maybe go for the bounce back here for Minnesota, but I just way more strongly believe that in Baltimore's ability to bounce back, and also that Minnesota just might not even have the bounce back after that.
The only concern I have with the Ravens in this one is that the one thing the Vikings have done well is against the run. Like, in 4 of the 7 games that they've played, opposing teams have rushed no more than 88 yards in 4 of those 7 games. And it's against the Cardinals, the Seahawks, Panthers, and Cowboys. Those are the teams that have gone 88 yards or less. The teams that have gone over are the Lions, which is, seems strange. The Browns with Chubb and Hunt both active in that one, and the Bengals in week 1 with Joe Mixon. Now, obviously, there is some elite running with Lamar Jackson, but they're really struggling at the RB position. So Jackson will be able to run against this team, but what about the rest of the team? That's where I get a little hung up on. And you mentioned that the Ravens are don't perform well on the week before the bye. Lamar Jackson's passing, at least against the Bengals, just seems so flat. Like that was like probably one of the worst performances with the eyeball test that he looked at last week. So I'm not as convinced that the Ravens will be able to cover in this spot as you are. Obviously, it's at a little bit of a wonky number at -5 for the Ravens at home, but
I'm just taking them out. I'm taking these 3 teams all outright, essentially.
Okay.
These are my 3 winners. This is where picking sides with the number in the NFL is tough. So call the teasers cheap, call them whatever you want, but these are a betting option. You're supposed to bet and win money. So I'm going to try and get by on these 3 teams winning this week. This is going to be where my big bets, my exposure is. And I'm not going to try and get cute by adding anything. I don't need Sunday to roll around and decide that I like the Raiders -3 for a perfect example. Not adding that on Sunday. I'm sticking to these strong spots and rolling with them. Now I do like the Patriots. I have taken a position aside on Patriots -3, but it's probably going to be that spread and these 3 other ones teased, money line parlayed.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be for my teaser. I'm probably going to be rolling with Cowboys, getting them down to -2.5, and then Rams getting them down to -1.5. Open to changing that, but if there's anything that won't change, it's that Rams -7.5. That's just
you're going to play the spread.
Yeah. Okay. Most definitely. That's going to be something that's not going to change.
I mean, and the Titans are off. The Titans are off a beatdown of Kansas City, an overtime divisional road win against the Colts to go up 3 games in the division, trying to spend all week figuring out how to replace Henry, which is impossible, but plug the stopgap.
Yep.
And then travel to LA, primetime game, Von Miller debut. It seems tough.
It does. So
and I think the only question is, and maybe I'll get the Cowboys involved in some way, because the Broncos selling off on Von Miller is telling that they're in a Chiefs down year, that they're just kind of giving up hope. So I do like Dallas. You're out on, I know, we're laying a touchdown with a 1-win team in Miami.
Yeah.
So that's a stay away one for you.
I just don't like them right now. I'm not high on them. I get it.
Nobody's high on them. They should be 0-8.
Yeah. Right. I know. I have to think on that one too. And what's actually funny too about the Broncos, essentially giving up 2. This is also after another Chargers loss. So that really is telling too, because that's the Chiefs, a down year for the Chiefs. So the Chargers now lost 2 in a row. That division's still pretty open. And they're already kind of waving.
And you traded for Teddy Bridgewater to pay over Drew Lock. So why give up now? Kind of weird, but
it is strange.
But they are.
But yeah, I have to mull that one over with the what should be an 0-8 team.
Fair enough. All right, so those are my plays for week 9. Steve gave out a couple plays. We will get back to you on Friday with potentially adding some plays, confirming some plays. And we are Friday this week. We will be on site at the Sports Betting National Championships put on by DraftKings in New Jersey. We will have hopefully some guests from VSiN. We will have hopefully some communication with Johnny Avello while we're at the event. We will have all types of other coverage from the event. As usual, you want to follow Steve on Twitter at SBCannon24. You want to follow me on Twitter at Julian Edlow. You want to follow the podcast on Twitter at Unreasonable Odd. And we are going to have later in the week, and this might even be before you hear from us on Friday, but we are going to be giving away more free bets on DraftKings Sportsbook this week. I had some confirmation of that just when we started recording. So you want to keep an eye later in the week on all of our Twitters before we even get to the next episode of Unreasonable Odds to win some more free bets. I already know we saw one of our users that won the $50 free bet the last time we gave it out, hit a plus 3,000, I think it was, parlay.
Oh, wow, nice.
Turned his $50 into over $1,500 with a Packers, Titans, Patriots, Cowboys moneyline parlay.
Let's go. Let's go.
So win one of our free bets from the Unreasonable Odds podcast, turn it into big money. It's easy.
Yeah,
that's
totally
all I
easy.
got.
Totally easy. Super easy.
All right. We will talk on Friday more about NFL Week 9 and, of course, go over and preview the Sportsbook National Championships live from New Jersey. All right. Talk to you guys later this week.